5,473 days. That's the last time the Bears won a postseason game until last night, and the Bears pulling off one of the most incredible comebacks in their history. Welcome on into the Bear Report. I'm Steven Johnson. He is Zack Pearson. And Zack, I tell you what, there are not many words that can describe just how incredible of a resiliency this team continues to bring week in and week out with the game on the line. And last night, probably hands down, the best one yet. And we've seen a hell of a lot this season.
Dude, that absolutely crazy. I mean, the environment, the atmosphere at Soldier Field, how the game went, the post game, the locker room, even I'm sure everyone else, even I was driving home. I think I got home at 2, but I was driving downtown to get on the highway, and I looked at there was a hotel bar and there was people, just Bears fans everywhere in there. And it was crazy, man. It's been a long time since they've won a playoff game. They've only had 2 or 3 chances in between that. But yeah, man, what a game. What a way to do it against your arch rival, how it all went down. And, I don't know how you felt, but I was sitting there during the game and I'm like, oh, here we go again. This is just typical Bears. This is what they do. It's over. Let's start looking forward to the off season. I even brought up my off-season sheet to start filling it out, and then bam, and I should have known. We all should have known, man. It's not over till it's over. That they play 60 minutes for a reason.
It's never over till it's over. You're down 21-3 at the half, and then outscoring the Packers 28-6 in the second half, coming alive. The second half adjustments, I don't know what it is about this team that they talk about in those 15 minutes in that locker room before they come out for the third quarter. But whatever it is, works. And specifically to the defensive side of the ball, you will hear more stats and just more wild information about last night's game that will leave you shaking your head as to how in the world did the Bears pull off what they pulled off last night. And it is a game that no Bears fan is ever going to forget. All the videos that we saw last night from Soldier Field, Charles Tillman showing in his suite, just that the stadium itself was shaking.
Oh, yeah.
Which you don't see very often at Soldier Field. And the crowd came to play last night, too, and really back up their team on the field being that fourth phase that they like to call themselves.
And, credit to the fans. I believe, Ben Johnson said in his press conference, Caleb Williams said in his press conference, how much this means to the city and the fans. And I looked down from the press box after that game when it went, and I have never seen that many hugs from fans given to each other, dads, moms, kids, friends, uncles, relatives, whatever it was. I mean, it was crazy. Pictures, hugs, high fives. I mean, it was just incredible. And yeah, man, you could feel it. You could feel the fans make a difference, especially in that second half with the defense. I mean,
absolutely.
It was 21-3, and the Bears defense looked like they could have gave up another 30 or 20, 30 total points in the first half. And for the fans to come out and they got the 3 and out, they got the stop, and they forced Green Bay to punt 4 times. Crazy, man. And it was huge. And you got to tip your cap to the fans and the team for making those adjustments.
Absolutely. And there were 2 key specifics to that. And it was a wild play chart for the possessions for the Packers and what the defense was able to put together in that game. And there were 2 specific points. And early on, the main question that I had was, where is Kyler Gordon at? There was no sign of him for the longest time. And Nick McLeod was getting beat. And you had to wonder, was this just a scare tactic that Kyler Gordon was active, but he truly wasn't going to make an impact on the field. He finishes the day playing 62% of the snaps on the defensive side of the ball. Wasn't the greatest in coverage. He got beat a couple times, and there were a couple more times that probably could have fallen in there, specifically the big Jaden Reed drop on the final drive for the Green Bay Packers. But his presence was there in the run game and stopping the run. And on the other side, TJ Edwards, losing him to the fractured fibula, not what you want to see. He's considered that quarterback of the defense, making sure everybody lines up wherever they are. However, there has been a noticeable difference in TJ Edwards' game this year, and not in a good way. And in comes DeMarco Jackson, who has played very sparingly, if at all, since TJ Edwards got healthy, since Tremaine Edmonds got healthy, with a little over 11 minutes left in the second quarter. From that moment on, the Packers only had 46 rushing yards the rest of the way, including just 6 rushing yards in the second half. And you noticed that his speed and his closing ability had such a huge impact on that I hate saying it this way, but this frankly might be a blessing in disguise for this Bears defense, getting the more athletic linebacker out there, able to play that middle linebacker role.
Yeah, man, it sucks. The 3 key injuries I believe they had, the Bears, after the game or whatever it was, 2 or 3. Yeah, something flipped with that defense at halftime. And I think Green Bay only had 1 rush, or did they even have a rush over a yard or something like that?
They had 1.
1, yeah, over a yard in that second half. And keep going back to those final couple drives, and they're running out of shotgun, and they're stuffing Josh Jacobs. What a disaster class by Matt LaFleur in the second half. And tip your hat to Dennis Allen, man. Like, they were getting nothing in that first half. I mean, absolutely nothing. And Green Bay got every bounce. I mean, Green Bay recovered 3 of their own fumbles. 3 of them. That is insane. So, yeah, I mean, it felt like something to flip with that defense, and DeMarco Jackson played a hell of a game. He's been pretty damn good when he's been called upon to have to come in, and now he's got a big role here for what we hope is a longer playoff run. But, yeah, I mean, there's still some issues with this defense. You look, Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson were struggling. Nashawn Wright was struggling. Nick McLeod was struggling. Really, the only 2 guys I think you can trust in that secondary right now is Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard, because it's just they were getting beat. When they were getting manned up, they were getting beat. It's not Jalen's fault. He doesn't look 100%. No. Never had the full offseason to train. Kyler Gordon, kind of the same things, not been 100%. So obviously something to look at moving forward. But, man, what adjustments they made in that second half to really, really keep them in the game, even when the offense was still struggling in the third quarter.
Right. And you saw the defensive line also able to generate some more pressure, which they had not been doing whatsoever up to that point in the game too, where Montez Sweat was out there more often. You saw him start to rev up the engine. Austin Booker coming in hot again. A guy who's really been your hype man on the defensive line for the Bears this year, because they really haven't had it elsewhere. Dominique Robinson also had a couple plays as well in the game that made you think, where has he been? And the defensive tackle aspect, you talk about the 3 fumbles. Obviously, Trevon Dexter, not the most well-versed defensive lineman in terms of recovering fumbles, which cost the Bears 1 in particular. At
least he tried to fall on it this time. He just fell on it the wrong way, I guess.
Yeah, and it just poof, like just straight out from underneath him. But I tell you, it was interesting to see the shift, and Dennis Allen being a little bit more deliberate in who he was sending on blitzes and the extra rushers at times as well off the edge. And he was coming from both sides, and you could tell immediately that Jordan Love was flustered. after he started doing that and really getting him off of his rhythm, because the first half, I mean, it was Jordan Love basically doing whatever he wanted. And it went to show that with quarterbacks like Jordan Love, where they're not necessarily known for running out of the pocket, taking off, making plays outside of the pocket, you can make things happen despite you having those struggles on the defensive side of the ball. And I don't know why it took a half to have that light bulb go off, because even in the first half, they were playing so much man defense. And it's like, what did we learn a week ago against the Lions? It's the same thing. These are not corners on this roster who can keep up with speedy, shifty receivers. And I don't get it. I truly don't understand that aspect of it.
Well, and you watched Green Bay just completely take advantage of that. Like the play calls and the designs that Matt LaFleur had, he looked like an incredible coach the first half. That touchdown, the third touchdown Green Bay had, where was it Jaden Reed? They had everyone confused. Nashawn Wright had no idea who he was supposed to pick up, and they were wide open for a touchdown. And then it flipped in the second half, and I think Dennis Allen realized I have to get creative. Maybe zone coverage is, probably a better idea. But even then, they got pressure when they needed to. And there was a couple of huge plays. I mean, the play at the final drive where Jordan Love hits Christian Watson and it goes right off his arms, or right off his hand. If you watch that play, Gervon Dexter gets enough, just gets there just in the nick of time to at least alter that throw just a little bit. Because if it's 2 to 3 inches, I mean, it's probably a touchdown, and they probably win the game. But yeah, I mean, the Bears, they have this knack of, Montez Sweat come up with a big play the last Packers game, or the defense in the first meeting, really good or good in the second half. And they just have a knack for coming up with these big plays, man, and finding them when they need to. And they did it again. And it was incredible. It was awesome.
And to be able to do that with a game, the first time this year, the Bears have won a game without forcing a turnover. This has been such a turnover prolific season for this Bears defense in making up for so many of the inefficiencies that they've had. And for this to be the first game that they're able to do it, just the third game all year that they have not forced a turnover, and the first win to come up in this big of spot. And I tell you what, it was so impressive. And it goes back to the fact that, even despite, some of the stat lines talking about Kyler Gordon getting torched in pass coverage, that you still saw the impact from him. And there's the stats that are out there. Our good friend Nick Whalen mentioning that when Kyler Gordon's on the field, this is a top 10 defense. For whatever reason, that his impact, and we even saw it a couple times on that cross route that the Packers just terrorized the Bears with the first 2 games this season, just letting their speedy guys and Christian Watson and Jaden Reed run across the field and picking up big gains because the Bears had nobody to run with them. There were a few moments where Kyler Gordon kept up and made sure that the plays were not completed, that was key for them. And I'm excited to now hopefully see him get a little bit of rust shaken off, a little bit sharper, and what DeMarco Jackson is going to do as the starting middle linebacker next week with the speed and difference of play that he brings versus what TJ Edwards brings to the field.
The one thing I'll push back on the whole Kyler Gordon thing is it's a small sample size for a top 10 defense.
It is. It definitely is. It's a very small
games.
Yeah. Yes.
And he still was struggling a little bit. I think it's not against him. Like, it's not necessarily him. He just hasn't played. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not fully up to speed. So, yeah, he made plays. We'll give him that. There was a couple plays he got beat on, too, which I believe the Jaden Reed one that you dropped. I don't know. Was that Jalen or was that Kyler? It was one of the two that were in coverage. And it was
Kyler.
Yeah, but they still made the plays to win the game.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting now to see because they won. We should celebrate it, but they said it themselves. They have to play better. And there's some things that they have to clean up if they want to keep advancing. But, I think the Bears, in a way, never count them out, right?
Never.
And they fed off of the end and the crowd and how the things were starting to turn, the momentum, which they've done all season long. And yeah, it was fun to see that again. And like you said, it was players like DeMarco Jackson that came in and made an impact. It was Gervon Dexter that made an impact. It was Kyler Gordon that was making an impact. It was guys like that, Austin Booker had the lone sack of the game for the Bears. And we know what they could do on offense. They have weapons, but man, right. When that defense needed to step up, they did so. And thankfully they did, because we'd be talking about a whole different thing, right now.
Absolutely. That last play could have gone on forever. It felt like it went on forever.
It felt like Jake Daniels, man.
It did. I was having so many flashbacks to the Hail Mary last year, and I'm just like, I can't take this again. Like, after all of this, like, you can't do this to me. And thankfully that was not the case. But the Rams are the next team here that are going to be making their way to Soldier Field, and a former divisional foe in Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams, a couple names that have frankly made some nightmarish thoughts for the Bears over the course of the last decade plus. During their time in the NFC North. So the Bears have their work cut out for them next week with an NFC West foe and a very smart offensive mind in Sean McVay coming to town that will definitely give this defense fits.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little later, because I do want to talk about something. We have to talk about the pregame scuffle.
Oh, we do.
And the trash talk.
Yeah.
Okay, for those that didn't pay attention or didn't see, not pay attention, sorry. It felt like leading to that week, a couple of Packers players like Keyshawn Nixon, Christian Watson, a couple of them, mentioned that they wanted the Bears. Jeff Hafley was saying how he's going to see the media here next week. Yeah, well, he'll see the media. It'll be exit interviews.
Maybe as a head coach somewhere else that's not Green Bay.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs saying how a couple players, Patrick Finley went up there and a couple players told them, about how they want their get back, and they thought the hit on Jordan Love that they're still complaining about was dirty and all that. And you kind of saw him get into the pregame scuffle and at midfield. And interestingly enough, Matt LaFleur was actually like kind of in the middle of that. Like, he was trying to break it up, not like he was literally, not figuratively, he was like literally in the middle of it trying to break it up. But the Bears definitely heard everything that Green Bay said. And they saw Green Bay huddle up at the logo in midfield, kind of stomp on it a little bit. And they took that personal. And they used that as motivation all week long. And I think Caleb Williams' quote where he says, we're here. I heard that they wanted us, and looked like they got us, was a perfect mic drop. And it just shows that the Bears are not going to be pushed around. It's not the same old Bears. This is a team that's going to be here for a while, as long as Caleb Williams can stay healthy and as long as Ben Johnson's in charge. And it feels like things are starting to change in the rivalry a little bit here.
Just a little bit. And, the respect that the Bears kind of carried in the press conferences this week as well, when talking about the Packers players and really not chirping back with a lot of those bulletin board-esque comments. It was an interesting strategy and not necessarily something that we've seen out of the Bears previously. And a lot of people will want to point to, Ben Johnson's introductory conference saying, I really enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. There's number two.
Yeah.
But just
Right.
letting the results on the field speak for themselves. And it was refreshing to see that. And I know a lot of other folks out there are going to point to even the good, better, best video from this week in Ben Johnson's opening remarks out of that video with some not safe for work profanity
Yeah.
to
And you know what?
describe how he felt. But that's a rivalry at
Yeah.
its finest. It
So
frankly
tired of
is.
people complaining about that.
Well, and
So
here's the thing, both sides have had their chance about the other team. For years it's been the Bears still suck, and for even Aaron Rodgers and all
Oh,
those years, and the fact that you still hear it now, where it's like we own you, and Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers going on and on about that, and they're it's good for there to be chirping back and forth, and I think that there needs to be an understanding on both sides that this makes it more worthwhile and just raises the stakes for the future of this rivalry. And I tell you what, I was curious about what specifically sparked that at midfield to really send things over the edge, but knowing that it was the stomping of the logo, kind of like a college-esque,
Well, do you
like,
know?
don't mess with us.
Do you know why it was started?
No.
The whole scuffle. Oh, so I asked Torrey Taylor. I asked pretty much every player, and Torrey Taylor was the first one to give me the answer. He was working on 40-plus yard punts. So the pregame, the field goal kickers do their thing, and the punters do their thing. And the Packers were just kind of standing in his way, would not move. And he politely said, hey, get out of here. I need to practice. And the Packers just did not want to move. And so they kind of got at it with Torrey Taylor. And then Luther Burden ran over. Jaquan Brisker was there. Jonathan Owens. Bunch of other players that, I probably could list off a bunch, were there. And that's how it all started, was because of the punting. And ironically enough, the Bears didn't punt on Saturday. So, yeah, and Torrey Taylor, he said, I told him, hand on my heart, it probably started because of me, but I just told them I need a punt move, and they didn't. And then the whole stomp the logo, standing around it and breaking the huddle. Luther Burden said that they saw that and it was disrespectful, and that's their field, and that was good. And you know what, the profanity, I don't mind. It's whatever.
Yeah,
you got a coach that is in his first year just came back from 18 points down and won a playoff game, and he's screaming every single thing that Bears fans are saying at home. And it's like,
one of us.
Right? And but that's where they draw the line. Aaron Rodgers yelling at a grandma in the stands, I still effing own you, or whatever, I still own you, is fine. But it's just enough of this. Like, people are just Dick Vitale complaining about enough.
Yeah.
Enough of this.
Yeah. And to think, Ben Johnson, the first ever Bears head coach in his first year to win a playoff game. The first one ever over 100 years. That's wild.
It's crazy, man.
Absolutely wild that he was able to do that.
It's crazy. And, he has the right to do whatever he wants. He could say F the Packers. I mean, who cares?
At this point, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Bears won a game. We haven't talked about the offensive side of the ball, and the struggles again early on. That first drive was so crisp. They take up half of the first quarter and march down the field. It ends in a field goal, and it almost felt like a loss at that point, that they only came away with 3 points. And you thought to yourself, okay, they've got it figured out for what they need to do to start getting a little bit earlier on in the game. And then it's back to square one, where they get nothing moving, and it's just this struggle bus from start to finish in the first half. And Caleb's stats were not pretty at all with what he was able to do in that first half, with I want to say a little over 100 yards passing, and just nothing working, and not being able to generate that run game and really solidify themselves as that, two option offense because they fell behind so quickly, because the defense looked so out of sorts. And before you knew it, it was 14-3, and then going for it on fourth down at their own 30. And at that point, it kind of felt like the Indiana-Alabama playoff game last week, where Alabama went for it early on in their own end and everything just unraveled. And you sat there thinking, oh no, they're scoring again. It's now 18 points, and it nothing felt good. And I think for everybody, it was a sense of the Bears this time have no answers for what they need to do to turn this ship around.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear Ben Johnson really didn't trust the defense in that moment.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I had in hindsight, obviously, the only thing I had an issue with is if you win a toss and you elect to receive the ball, that ball has to get in the end zone. Anything else is a failure in my eyes. And,
right.
Yeah, it's easy to say that now, but no, the field goal, I was not happy with the decision. I wish they would have gone for it. Maybe they don't win because of that, but I just, if you're going to do that, you have to get in the end zone. That's a statement drive. That's a drive that we're here. We're going to punch you in the mouth first. I didn't think all the fourth down calls were terrible. I think, going for it, that, like you said, the one that was inside their own 32 was very gutsy. That's probably the one I would take back and not do. But I think, was that the one that was tipped? The ball was tipped to the line?
Yes.
Yeah, I went and watched that play. I think Luther Burden scores if that ball is not tipped, man. I think he's got a step or two, and there's no one on that side of the field.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating thing about that is because, and really there were a few throws last night where the vertical air on the ball for Caleb was missing in certain regards, and it was more speed than finesse to place the ball in certain aspects. And we saw it even on a dive play with Colston Loveland in the end zone that was just out of his reach, where there is still that aspect of his game that's rusty, and really what turns into a lot of his incompletions on the field from week to week, where he just doesn't seem to have it at moments, but then all of a sudden he has that one throw and you're like, okay, well, he does have it. So where's the consistency? What needs to be done in order for him to just continue to roll it out? You mentioned that fourth down play. And then speaking of Luther Burden, the other fourth down play just inside Packers territory, where even pre-snap, Luther Burden was lost.
That was the interception.
Yeah, he's lining up on the wrong side of the field. Caleb's having to guide him over, say, go this way, go this way, go this way. And then him just kind of looking around like, where am I supposed to go? DJ Moore's kind of trying to explain to him, like, run the dagger. And he runs a go route just down the left side of the field. And Caleb's not there. And Caleb was clearly angry following that interception. And frankly, one of the dumbest interceptions that the Packers could have made, because costing them 30 yards and backing them up in a situation where it's like, just drop the ball. Drop it. That's all you have to do.
I don't understand how people are blaming Caleb on that either.
They shouldn't have been. That was clearly
pretty clear, right?
Yeah. That's the frustrating thing, where really both of Caleb's interceptions last night, I'm okay with them. Yeah, and maybe that's me saying it because they won and 24 hours to process.
But if they lost, they didn't lose because he threw 2 interceptions necessarily.
No, they would have lost because of just general mismanagement of operating as an offense, and even on the fourth down, Drew Dahlman just completely missed his block down in the red zone on was it 4th and 3, and Caleb had no choice, where he's either going to get sacked or he's just going to throw it up and hope that one of his receivers comes down with it, and then DJ Moore ends up slipping on that play as well. So the entire thing just goes nowhere. And I don't know what it is about the Bears receivers and continuously slipping. Like, put an extra quarter inch on your damn cleats.
Oh.
Whatever you need to do, stop it. Just stop.
Yeah, I think I don't have a gripe with the interception on the second one. I think I don't know if he saw the free blitzer right away. I think if he saw him right away, he probably could have gone left and made it at least a play. But easier said than done. Easy, for me to say it here. Right. I honestly don't blame him for either interception. I mean, it was clear Burden and him were on the same page there, and he had to throw the ball. If he takes a sack on that fourth down, everyone's yelling at him to get rid of the football.
Yeah.
But I mean, he turned it around, man. That second half, that fourth quarter, and even the third quarter, they were moving the football. They just got stuck in the red zone, and he is very successful when he's finding Colston Loveland, and Colston Loveland is going to be a star in this league. He is so good, man.
Can we talk about just how insane Colston Loveland's performance was last night?
So good.
8 catches, 137 yards.
15 targets.
15 targets. The most ever in receiving yards by a Bears tight end in the postseason. The second most receiving yards by a Bears player in postseason history. The second most by any rookie tight end in NFL history. 15 targets. The fifth most of any tight end ever in NFL postseason history. And 10th most yards all time by a tight end in postseason history. What Colston Loveland did was nothing short of incredible last night. And frankly, outside of Caleb, was the lone reason why the Bears won that game. And I love everything about it because in the draft and when they were on the clock and picked Colston Loveland, there were so many beat reporters, broadcasters in the state of Wisconsin that laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yeah.
That said they screwed up. They should have taken Tyler Warren. And to see the egg on the face of those Packers beat reporters and broadcasters and what he was able to do last night, I mean, it just aged like fine wine in what he was able to do.
Yeah, I put my hand up because I thought they were going to take Tyler Warren. I didn't think it was a bad pick Colston Loveland. I just was shocked. I was like, I thought they were going to take Tyler Warren. But, yeah, dude, he's and I'll throw another stat out there. First career playoff game for Colston Loveland, already has more receiving yards in a single playoff game than Travis Kelce's ever had in his playoff career.
Are you kidding me?
No, Travis Kelce's had 134 as his high in the playoffs.
Wow.
Colston Loveland, what, 137, 138?
137.
Yeah. And, he's an extra wide receiver. When they run that corner route to him, and he's wide open every time because there's
no one can guard him.
Yeah, there might be 1-2 linebackers in this league that could guard him that we haven't seen yet. But other than that, anyone that's matched up on him cannot guard him. And if he he had another drop, which was tough, but he's only had 2 drops all year. And this kid is a stud. This kid is really good. And for me, I like having this combination of him and Cole Kmet. I was on board of, maybe move on, maybe cut Cole Kmet. I think they restructure his deal. I think they keep both. They free up a little money. I think Cole Kmet would be very open to restructuring his deal and sticking around. Because I think these two, the 1-2 punch of them two at a tight end, is, they have 2 really good tight ends, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And even being a hometown guy too, you want to keep a guy like that who is so pivotal to even what Ben Johnson runs and needing those 2 tight ends on the field and being able to run the schemes that he runs. And the fact that they both have that receiving ability is incredible and is such a plus to this offense. And for Caleb to trust Colston as much as he does as a rookie. And you can say the same thing about Luther Burden, that Luther had some key plays in the game that, you know, set the stage for moving things about. The final stat line, not the greatest for Luther Burden. I think it was 3 catches for 42 yards. So nothing, you know, over the top, but still able to, you know, put that shiftiness on display and then, you know, be able to make that impact down the stretch. It just, I'm at a loss for words, because really 2 guys I didn't expect to have much of an impact at all this year are having arguably the biggest impact of any of the Bears receivers so far this season in what they're able to put forward. Over 1,200 receiving yards between the 2 of them.
And the Bears had a plan for both of them. I mean, both of them suffered injuries or had an injury in the offseason. Colson Loveland really didn't hit the field until, you know, full go training camp. Luther Burden was banged up with an injury. To see them 2 come along as the season's gone along, I mean, it's been, you have to trust Ben in this process. And I think Ben has been able to prove that we need to trust them and we need to let these guys come along. You know, Colson didn't have a very good start to the season, but man, he turned it on. He had his breakout game against Cincinnati, and kind of same with Luther. Luther had that breakout game, and you know, he had the touchdown against Dallas, but played really well a couple games later. And yeah, I think they're going to have pretty much everyone back on this offense, or should have everyone back on this offense
if they want.
Besides a left tackle, they'll have to find a new left tackle. But yeah, I think they have a good core building, keeping these young guys with Caleb Williams.
Absolutely, and we'll get to the left tackle in a second, because Ozzie Trapillo, I mean, it sucks losing him to the ruptured patella, and what he was meaning to this offensive line, and whether or not it's going to be Theo Benedette or Braxton Jones stepping in as the left tackle next weekend against the Rams. But with 2 minutes to go in the game, Ozzie Trapillo suffered that injury. I mean, his knee just folded. It did not look very good at all. But he was able to hobble off the field by himself under his own power, keeping the clock from stopping. And at that point, it would have cost the Bears a timeout, or in essence, really just kind of messed up how the rest of that game went for them as they made their way down the field. And for a rookie left tackle to have that wherewithal to say, I need to get off this field under my own power because of the situation that we're in, and to do it, that was such a telltale sign to what this coaching staff has been able to instill in this team in terms of awareness of the moment that has been missing for so many years. That is going to be a key that I think a lot of people overlook in terms of how things developed the way that they did in that game, because of him being able to save that time that the Bears had on the clock.
Heads up play, football bloodline from him. You know, his dad played football. He comes from a football family. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, the heads up play, you tip your cap. That's a lot of respect to him. And hopefully his recovery timeline is a lot shorter than what we're seeing out there. I think Josh Simmons had a similar injury at Ohio State and was kind of able to get back in a decent time. But yeah, the Bears are going to find a left tackle now, and we'll see what they do. I imagine Braxton Jones will be activated from IR this week. I bet you they'll go with Theo Benedict and then Braxton as the backup. But yeah, it's a shame because Ozzie, I think, was playing pretty well.
He was,
you know, this season, and since he got his chance at left tackle.
He definitely was. And for as solid as this offensive line has been, having 2 All-Pros as well, just a refreshing change from what we've seen in the Bears offensive line, that when you invest in your offensive line, look what happens.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Who would have known?
And a lot of money there. It better.
It definitely better be. But the other big key, obviously, to the game, and we've mentioned his name a couple times, but we got to dive into just what he meant to this team down the stretch, and even what he said after the game, and that's Caleb Williams. And 24-48, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, his 361 passing yards, the most by any Bears quarterback in postseason history. And then the fourth quarter stats. We talked about the fourth quarter and just how key he has been. 195 total yards, 2 touchdown passes, a 110 passer rating in the fourth quarter for the Iceman, Caleb Williams.
Dude, he did it again. I mean, the 4th and 8, unbelievable. I mean, I went back and watched that in the alternate angle too, of the back angle. Oh my! I mean, the Bears have a quarterback. They finally have a quarterback. I mean, he's crazy, dude. This is insane. The throws that he makes.
I tell you what, for him to roll out to the left, be able to square up, and then unleash that ball in 30 air yards on the money to Rome Odunze was a thing of beauty. That literally saved the Bears in that game and
saved the season.
I truly do not know how many other quarterbacks can make that type of throw with the mechanics of being able to literally turn his entire body and make that with such precision. When we talk about his inaccuracies as an issue, and then to do that in the moment, you sit here and say, how? And I can't believe that the Bears have a guy like this able to make these plays. And I don't think he had either foot on the ground when he let go of that ball either. Like that was a full
I don't think
jump, air ball, whip it. And I'm with you. Like you can just go back and watch that however many times you want, and you're still kind of left thinking, how in the world did that occur?
And that throw, man, that just insane. And then he has so many good, ridiculous throws that are just normal looking throws to us now.
Right.
Like there's some throws he makes that the place where the ball is just wow, or the arm angle, wow. And not even that one. I mean, there's other ones in that game where you're like, holy smokes. And man, it's good. And the play design at the end by Ben Johnson to get the fake screen and get DJ Moore wide open. Same thing the Commanders ran against the Bears earlier in the season.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, the Bears got a special talent at quarterback. And I think he's starting to find his reads now and go through his reads. There was some, misses that you want back and things like that. But I'm confident he could get better with the completion percentage and those types of throws.
And for that specific play, like you mentioned with the DJ Moore touchdown, that the Bears kind of set the stage for that earlier on in allowing Ozzie Trapillo to run a full route earlier in the game.
Theo Benedict.
Theo Benedict. Sorry. Theo Benedict earlier in the game. And to flush him out to the left and have it happen again. And you're sitting here like, okay, the bag of tricks is still here. Maybe it's not as wild of a play. And even, they tried Cole Kmet as a passer that didn't go much of anywhere earlier on. But they kept setting the stage for these offensive linemen to show off their athletic ability and being able to spring him and have the Packers bite on it in a way that, the Bears bit on it just as hard in that Commanders game. It was a thing of beauty and shows that Ben Johnson is kind of learning and adapting and frankly stealing things that work, and it worked to perfection for the Bears in that go-ahead touchdown.
I mean, is the combination of Ben Johnson, the play calling and the designs and the weapons they have on this offense, and I still don't even think they've hit their peak of anything yet. Like, I think they can just keep getting better and better as the years go on, which is pretty scary for other teams if they could stay healthy and stay on the right track.
And just being able to put things together in the first half would be a major step forward.
Yes,
for them.
100%.
And to think that even beyond that, being able to then build upon the more completions and more consistency in the play calling and more points instead of field goals, you're getting more touchdowns. Like, it's all there. And I think a lot of folks see it, and it's really easy to not have the patience in that. But right now, I think we should all be thankful that it wasn't a blowout like it was looking in that first
Yeah.
half. And the fact that it wasn't at the hands of the Packers that the Bears are exiting the playoffs and continue this playoff run with really a new level of confidence, it feels like, because Caleb Williams in the post-game speech with getting the game ball saying flat out before anything else, we need to be better. We know we can be better, and we need to make sure we know what we're doing when we're out on the field. That's the leader you want. And, Ben Johnson showing the stone face at all times on the sideline. He's not here to be your friend. For your quarterback to also know that, and we saw a lot of emotion from Caleb Williams over the course of the game on the sideline and on the field. It is so refreshing to know that they're not just going to keep relishing in the moment, saying that, okay, this is it. We're just going to keep going and going and going. It's like, no, this isn't good enough. It's good, better, best. They're probably between good and better right now.
Yeah.
You got to get to best. Got to get to best.
Well, best might not come this year, too.
That's true.
Yeah. Like it might come next year or the year after. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like now, in a way, they are kind of playing with house money even more. Like you beat the Packers. You got the boogeyman off your back. Now you can play a little more free, I think. I don't think there'll be there'll be pressure, but it's not going to be like what it was against Green Bay. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
they'll have the Rams. Now the Rams coming to town. And we don't know Saturday, Sunday. I'm guessing it's got to be Saturday, right? That makes the most sense. It'll be Saturday.
Yeah,
we'll find out in a couple.
My guess is it will be Saturday, since both teams played on Saturday. It just kind of makes sense to carry that over in
It'll be the Saturday prime time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and it's an interesting Rams team, because it wasn't a given that they were going to beat the Panthers either. This is 2 weeks in a row now that the Rams have to travel across the country for a game, and a game where, the Panthers gave them every shot that they had to try and come away with that victory. This is a very beatable Rams secondary, and I think Bryce Young and that entire receiving core showed the world that there are some guys that are paid very handsomely, like the Bears defense, that are not living up to those expectations. But then on the offensive side of the ball, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Colby Parkinson, who had one of the most insane catches of the playoff wildcard weekend. These are playmakers that the Bears need to be prepared for, and they're going to give them fits at time as well. There is no real easy offense the rest of the way with the way that these teams are performing. I mean, hell, we all know about the 49ers when the Bears played them out in Santa Clara a couple weeks ago. The Seattle Seahawks, you get them in Seattle, that's a very dangerous team with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then you have Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker in the backfield. There are a lot of dangerous players in that NFC West, and right now, the Super Bowl path is through the NFC West for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. The Bears were this close from playing the Panthers, hosting the Panthers, which would have been awesome. But no, I mean, it's going to be it'll certainly be a tough matchup. I think it's going to be high scoring. It's going to be cold. I think Sunday is going to be in the teens. Saturday be like the low 20s. And I think there's probably some chance for precipitation one of the 2 days I thought I saw. But a West Coast team like LA, if you want any of the West Coast teams to come to your stadium, it's the Rams of the teams that are left.
I mean, it's a dome team.
It's a dome team. The Cardinals aren't in it. Seattle, it plays in these elements. San Francisco, at times can play in the cold. But yeah, I mean, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. The Bears are going to have their hands full. And the Rams got some speed, too, on that offense as well, and a couple wide receivers. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, Matt Stafford's not a very mobile quarterback. You don't have to worry about him beating you with his legs like you have other quarterbacks in the past. So, yeah, it'll be a challenge for this Bears defense. But, again, the Packers were a tough challenge. So you take it matchup by matchup and just hope Dennis Allen has the right game plan.
Yeah, the current forecast as of now for Saturday, a high of 21 with snow showers a low of 7. And then on Sunday, if they do play on Sunday, they're currently calling for a high of 15 and a low of 7 with mostly cloudy weather on Sunday. So cold conditions,
Yeah.
potentially some snow. And again, bear weather, more than anything else, bear weather that will be impacting Soldier Field and the divisional round matchup between the Bears and the Rams.
And we'll know either at halftime of this game, which is, let's see, about 9 minutes left in the first half, or we'll know after this game. I imagine it'll be after this game.
Yeah, they like to always announce this. It drives me nuts. They always like to announce it. Just put it out there. Like we know who these teams. I guess not the AFC, because there's only been 2 AFC matchups so far. So we'll see where things lie there. So probably the end of this game here, because it is the 2-7. So depending on who wins this, it will be known who the winner of the Steelers-Texans game will play tomorrow night ahead of time. But
because if the Chargers win, they go to Denver.
Right.
If the Chargers lose, the Bills go to Denver.
Yep. And so the windows right now, 3:30 Saturday, 7:15 Saturday, and then Sundays are at 2 and 5:30. So we're
what's the TV on that? Is it all Fox and CBS, or is there an NBC? Does Saturday night NBC still exist for NFL?
I think it does, or it might be ABC. I don't know if they've announced it just yet. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure if they've gotten that far with it yet. Or else I just can't find it right now, which is also
yes, I got it. Oh
okay,
no, they have not announced it.
They have not now. Okay, so mystery. Woo!
I gotta imagine it's Fox and CB. Maybe there will be an NBC.
Yeah, I think either NBC or the ABC ESPN sometime on Saturday. Maybe that earlier window, the 3 o'clock will be there. If not the NBC. I don't know how it goes. I don't know if Amazon still gets stuff. I think they're just wild card weekend group.
Yeah, I think Amazon gets the wild card.
Yeah, so it's
that's shocking that they don't even have the TV. Like they don't even have the NBC. Like who plays who? Not who plays who, but like who plays where? Like the channel.
Right. Divisional round.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Okay. Well, by the time a lot of people will be listening to this in our podcast form, if you're not subscribed to our podcast on all your major podcast providers, we'll probably know. So we'll just sound like a bunch of bumbling idiots trying to find information that's going to be available in 2 hours. But either way, we do know that the LA Rams are coming to Chicago to play at Soldier Field next weekend in some capacity.
I found it.
Oh, you found it. Okay, there we go.
According to NBC Washington, there is with games airing on NBC, CBS, Fox, and ABC, ESPN. Okay, so I'm guessing the Saturday night will be NBC, and which makes sense. So I bet you we'll get NBC, CBS on Saturday, Fox, ESPN, ABC on Sunday.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll see if
I'm guessing.
Hey, we'll look like
geniuses,
great predictors, and maybe not. But like I said, we do know one thing, and that is the Bears have a big matchup for a chance to punch their ticket to the NFC Championship game in 2 weeks, next weekend against the Rams, and we will be here to break all of it down as the Bears move on in the 2025-26 NFL postseason, the largest comeback in Bears postseason history. 25 fourth quarter points, the second most they've ever scored in the fourth quarter. 7 fourth quarter comebacks this year, trailing with less than 2 minutes. The third largest fourth quarter comeback in NFL playoff history. The third most fourth quarter points in NFL playoff history. And one hell of a game that nobody will ever forget, with the Bears taking down the Packers in the wild card weekend game. Whew. Unbelievable.
Yes.
Absolutely unbelievable. I don't know how we see that one upped, but another win. It's a good place to start.
Let's keep it going, man. Keep it going.
That we will hopefully see, but we'll be here to break down Bears-Rams later this week here at the Bear Report. For Zack Pearson, I'm Steven Johnson. Thanks for tuning in with us, and we will talk to you later this week talking NFC Divisional Round, Bears-Rams. We'll talk to you then.
Good, better, bad! Good, better, bad! Never let it run! Never let it run! Good gets better! Good gets better! Better gets better! Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bears!